Hi, my name is Nikki, and I am here to talk about how leaving the Watchtower affected me. I actually left the Watchtower twice, and the first time was bodily, and when I was 22. And where that originated from was when I was about 14. The pressure was on to get baptized, and I actually started the questions. But I really did love Jehovah, and I really did love his organization. I just knew that I wasn't ready. I knew that I was getting baptized because I was getting pressure, and I knew that Jehovah would know that, and so I stopped the questions. And through the course of action of the push and pull and all that kind of stuff, I ended up, of course, going down the wrong path. And so I ended up physically leaving, never having been baptized, at around 22. This caused a wedge with my family. So I actually went through all of the separation anxiety um, in my early 20s. And I was very alone. And even though I was an unbaptized member, there was a wedge. I wasn't active, and they were. And so they had to kind of separate the association, and I didn't want to talk about it, and they wanted to talk about it, and so it caused a wedge that just continued to grow until eventually all association kind of just stopped. It was just too painful for both of us, and so we just kind of stopped association. So I did go through the anxiety of losing my family a long time ago. Well, my mother started contacting me again, and I was very excited to reestablish this contact, and to the point where I actually started to, the next time a witness came, I invited her in and we started talking about the Bible. I told her my history. I had some questions, and I decided that if I were going to go back, it would be with the right motives. And so, therefore, I was going to air any questions that I had. I was going to get all this stuff out in the open and really go for the gusto. One of the things that saved me, I believe, was that I did not jump into the literature. I already knew what the literature had to say. I was really looking for a Bible discussion. And so I had questions, and I would throw questions at her, and she would respond with Bible answers. And what had happened was some of the answers I wasn't happy with. They didn't make sense, or they didn't satisfy the question thoroughly. And so I would look more into those particular questions. I would start looking into the Bible myself, and I would have more questions for her. And it just kind of went back and forth for a while until I got off the fence. You know, I was on the fence, bodily out, mentally in, but I got off the fence. Through the scriptures, I was able to, through the scriptures, I saw that the slave was not who they said they were. And even then, I was still kind of holding on by a thread, but it was quite emotional to come to this conclusion, because I did want to believe it was the truth. It wasn't something that I set out to prove the organization wrong. I said I wanted to prove the organization right, and that's why it was so shocking to come to these conclusions that I did, and these realizations and these revelations that started happening. The Bible did not support what they were saying from what I was, just the questions and answers. I started looking on the internet to confirm that they were still okay, that that was still right, that I was wrong, that there was some proof or evidence or something that I could hang on to um, to to keep it real. But the more I looked, and the more I discovered, and the more I uncovered, it seriously is like peeling an onion. It is unbelievable. The evidence is overwhelming, and it started with my little questions that couldn't be answered biblically, to taking a look just on the surface of what was out there being said about the witnesses, to layer after layer after layer after layer after layer, all the way down to Russell. And there is no doubt in my mind that this is not an organization that I will ever belong to. And I will discuss in later videos the actual conclusions that I came to, and the actual scriptures that ended up opening my eyes. I'm very appreciative of the people that do post videos like this, and this is why I'm posting a video, even though I run the risk of further severing the relationship with my mother. Where I say that I went through separation twice was, you know, bodily I left in my 20s, and so there was a lot of anxiety and a lot of emotion with that. And the second time was when I woke up to the fact that they are not who they say they are. That was also an emotional roller coaster. It was not easy. I went through a lot of shame, guilt, anger. I felt betrayed. But talking to other ex-witnesses and other people that have been in this situation has been extremely helpful. I do recommend freeminds.org. They are very kind people, and there's people you can talk to on the phone, you can email. They have a lot of good things to say, and they're not angry ex-witnesses. A lot of them were very happy witnesses, and things have happened that caused them to leave. There are a lot of videos being posted online on YouTube now that I have watched, and there's all levels of personalities, so there's somebody to reach anybody. And some of you are a little scary, and some of you are sarcastic, which I now appreciate, and some of you are just very, very kind. So I do appreciate all of the work that is going in to help people like myself who have gone through the transition of becoming aware, because it is a painful process. But the good news is you move past it, and we all move past it in our own way. Some people wake up like that and they're fine. Some people, it's a slower process. I seem to be moving quite along. I'm past the anger. I'm past the shock. I'm past the feelings of betrayal. I'm just now wanting to help other people open their eyes. So I'm a little concerned about how this is going to affect my new relationship with my mother, because I know if she ever sees this, it'll be over. And so I am constantly, it's constantly on my mind how I'm going to handle this. And every time we email or call each other, I'm kind of tiptoeing around it right now. But I know as soon as she starts pushing me to come back, I'll have to address the situation. So for now, we're just kind of leaving that relationship in status quo, and see if I can maybe help her in, and maybe not, but I'm hoping that we can keep our relationship open. So that is an added little pressure, because there's it's going to cause a big wedge if it comes out that I will not go back. So it is a little stressful still. But one of the biggest things of finding out what I found out through the Watchtower, about the Watchtower Society, is that the fear is gone. I did not know how much my life was controlled by fear. I have no fear right now. And it's not like I'm no fear in, nothing's ever going to hurt me. But all of the fears that were imposed on me by the Watchtower organization are gone. I don't even fear them anymore, because just like the Bible says, they're false, and you do not need to fear them. And even the word apostate, which used to strike terror in me, no longer holds any power over me. I know that I am not an apostate to anybody other than the Watchtower Society, and since I think they are false, so what? It doesn't bother me that they think I'm an apostate. But there is a lot of support available for those of you that are questioning or doubting. There are a lot of us that I've noticed that are willing to answer questions without being biased one way or the other. There's a lot of support pointing you in the direction to answer your own questions. And there's a lot of support for those of you that are stuck, that know what you believe, that you know it's not the truth, and don't know where to go. That was one of the things that I found so amazing, was just how much support is out there. And there's many of us that can get you in contact with anything you might need. So if you are having questions, having doubts, or stuck, all we want to do is help. If you don't want our help, if you're not stuck, if you're a happy witness, you shouldn't even be looking at these. Why confuse the issue? But if you are in the position where you're making some sort of awareness is happening, all we want to do is help. We don't want to hurt anybody. And like has been said over and over again, I love the witnesses. I will always love the witnesses. But I have no love for the Watchtower Society. So I will attack them. I have no fear of them, and I have no love for them. But I do love the witnesses, and it is out of love that I do these things. And I'm joining this campaign. And well, that's all I have to say. I'm running out of time. Thank you.